Esta conferencia comenzará a grabarse.
So, welcome to the morning session of the European Alliance Against Coronavirus. Today we will speak about clusters and the Enterprise Europe Network, and to speak about that, we have an excellent panel of speakers, starting with Crispin Weymouth, that is in the GROW, as far as I know, the real expert on the EEN, no? And Deputy Head of Unit of D2, if I am right, okay? So we have also with us Antonella Benza from the Luce in Veneto, Marta Krakowiak from the ELCA European Lightning Cluster Alliance, and Mirela Puiu from the Romanian Textile Concept. Daniel Kosnita will be the real moderator. So today I will work very little. Thank you, Daniel, for all your support on organizing this excellent session, and I'm giving you now the moderation rights. Thank you, Daniel.
Thank you very much, Antonio. Welcome, a warm welcome also from my side. So my name is Daniel Koșniță. I am the president of the Romanian Cluster Association and as such member of the European Clusters Alliance. And I'm also acting as a regional point, the Enterprise Europe Network point for the Bucharest and South regions of Romania. So in that position, I have the honor to moderate this morning session. And before starting, just a few words about the frame in which we are having this discussion today. So as it was mentioned also in the new revised industrial strategy of the European Union, it is written so that so it is very clearly written that Enterprise Europe Network and clusters, and it is given the example of European Cluster Collaboration Platform there, should enhance their cooperation in order to allow a quicker green, digital and resilient recovery in the frame of the 14 industrial ecosystems that have been identified as very important for the European economy. So, and on one hand, we have now here the clusters. We have the clusters which are united under the national cluster associations, and we have the European Clusters Alliance, which is the umbrella at European level. On the other hand, we have the Enterprise Europe Network, which is the largest global network in support of internationalization of SMEs, be it in terms of commercial activities or technology transfer innovation or participation to a common research and innovation projects. So the aim of our meeting today is to see how the cooperation between the Enterprise Europe Network and clusters could be enhanced, given also the fact that the new call and the new period 2021-2027 of European Enterprise Europe Network is also coming. So, and in order to do that, given also the time restraints that we have invited the speakers that Antonio has already mentioned, and I would like now to ask Crispin Weymouth from DG GROW to give us a glimpse, so to say, on how is it seen, how is this cooperation between the Enterprise Europe Network and clusters is seen from DG GROW in the perspective of the new Enterprise Europe Network period. So Crispin, welcome. We thank you for being with us today, and you have the floor.
Thanks very much, and to you, Daniel, and thank you, Antonio, and good morning, colleagues. This is a real pleasure. I've heard a lot about you from Marek and from Ulla, so it's a real pleasure to actually see the stars And as I was just saying when I came in, I hope this is the beginning of many conversations. I'm just going to start with the technicalities of just trying to share my screen and see if if the organizer can let me share my screen. That would be made the presenter terrific. So I will now. It's always fun when we have to go through these things and see. No, here we go. It should be sharing the cluster. You should be able to see.
Yes, we
Can
are
you see
seeing
the screen? Is there anything that I need to close or anything? Is everything clear?
It's not in full screen mode. If you could put it in full screen.
Yes, absolutely. Yep. Let me slideshow. And can you see everything? Is everything okay?
Perfect.
Yes. Okay, great. Then, no, firstly, just a word of introduction, because for those of you who don't know me, which is that 4 years ago, I joined what was then the Enterprise Europe Network, an SME internationalization unit. And so I've spent 4 years not just with the EEN, but also with Erasmus for Young Entrepreneurs and a couple of other files, SME Innovation and SME Internationalization. As I think Marek told you on your last call, we had a reorganization 2 months ago, and I think it's very exciting for reasons that I think we will get on to today, is that we put together not just our policy work on clusters and our policy work on the Enterprise Europe Network, but also the Erasmus for Young Entrepreneurs program, our linkages between Horizon Europe and our industrial strategy that Daniel mentioned, also the work that we're doing through the new industrial forum, our work on innovation, and our work on industrial alliances, and that's just the start. So it's really a very, very big set of tasks. But what is really interesting to me about it is that we are combining all stages of the entrepreneurship and company growth journey, right from the very start, the entrepreneurs, through the SMEs, through startups, through the mid caps, to the very large companies and the industrial alliances. And I was excited before this took place, but I think now we're really beginning to see some interesting interplays. Today, I think is very much the start of a conversation. You've asked me to set out our perspectives, and I'll give you some early thoughts, but I would just emphasize they're very much early thoughts from our perspective. And I really want to, if whoever's, there's somebody who's not on mute, you can, then I really see this as the start of a discussion, and I'd really be grateful for your views. And the final thing I say is that I know that, for instance, yourself, Daniel, and a lot of you know a lot about the EEN, but also I hear that some of you are less familiar. So I'm going to start with a real basic, what the EEN does, and I apologize if it is preaching things to you that you know already. But I gather that not everybody's familiar, and I'd rather that we all start from the same position, and then have that as the basis of a discussion. So, as I said, I want to just do a quick introduction of what the EEN does, then give you some perspectives on how, and you mentioned the call, Daniel, how we see it evolving in the future. And thirdly, some very initial thoughts on synergies and cooperation with clusters. It is, as you said, you use the traditional catchphrase, the world's largest support network for SMEs. And it brings together chambers of commerce, innovation agencies, regional development agencies, universities, research institutes, and others. We don't specify who should be a member. What we specify is the service that they should provide. And what we're looking to do is to help SMEs, ambitious SMEs, to grow in the single market and beyond. And that's really the core of it. And within that, to innovate and increase their competitiveness. Again, something most of you will be familiar with. It's free of charge. We're not competing with consultancies. We are trying to provide a basic service and then feed on so that SMEs can see where their needs are and how to best meet them. And also everything that we do has to have a European dimension and provide a genuine EU added value. We're here to build on top of what the chambers of commerce, innovation agencies and others are doing already at local level. Again, some statistics that many will be familiar with: over 3,000 local experts, over 600 plus locations, and over 60 countries. Now, as you will see in a minute, not all of those are members of the EEN, are formal members, but we have a wider kind of international partnership. And a lot of agencies that you will be familiar with, indeed some of which you may be part of, from across Europe. Our connection is really that we are connecting up with people on the ground. And what we're trying to do is I kind of, the analogy I settled on when I first started is it's like taking your car in to be serviced. And you feel that it could be going faster, but you don't quite know what's wrong with it. So the mechanic looks at it and goes through and gives you advice. Well, maybe if you change this, if we maybe used a different kind of fuel, if we tweak this a little bit, it could go faster. And the three particular ways in which we do that is through firstly connecting companies up to potential partners, both in the single market and beyond, through our partnership database, through brokerage events, through company missions. Also by giving them dedicated advice, not just on EU laws and standards, but on how, on the potential markets that they're looking to grow into. And something that I think has been, that we need to do a lot more on is intellectual property rights. But then the third and really important thing is, because a lot of what companies come to us is they feel that they need access to money, and obviously a lot of the times that is that's very much the case, but they also sometimes they need just dedicated support on how to innovate, on how to adopt new technologies. And so I see it really as a panoply of service, ranging from information about the rules to dedicated advice, to training when necessary, to innovation, to finance, to partnerships, and often telling them about potential public procurement opportunities. And one thing, this is highly resonant in the context of the new industrial strategy, where we've talked about 14 industrial ecosystems, is we have sector groups similar to the approach you take on clusters, and they're largely based on the ecosystems in place. And these are dedicated groups looking at the specificities and the opportunities in their particular areas. As I said, we have a global presence, not just in the current COSME countries. The network is still existing until the end of this year. And then, as I will say in a minute, we start a new one next year, but also through what is currently called business cooperation centers, but will in future be known as international network partners, a cooperation that we have with third countries and with their business support services to help them build partners. And finally, the success rate, very, very good. We have a 3.2% success, more SMEs who use the network grow on average by 3.2% more than those who don't. And actually, we think this is rather an understatement. These figures are quite old, and we suspect the figure is now far higher. Now, moving to where we're going, this meeting is very timely because we issued a call for proposals. There's a technical glitch at the moment, which means you can't actually submit applications, but you can see it. And by the way, I will forward this PowerPoint to you so that you can access it. But we expect that technical glitch to be sorted in the next day or two. And in the call, basically, I mean, I invite you to read it, and obviously at this stage it's an open call, and so I can't go into details beyond what is there, although we will have an information day next month at which we will, that will be open to everybody. But just to stress the kind of core elements that we put in the objectives of the network, and really draw your attention to the first line, the economically, environmentally, and socially sustainable. This is going to be a major thrust of the new network, is with the introduction of sustainability advisors. And this was something that we announced last year and was very much echoed in the new industrial strategy. A second area that we're working a lot on is on digitalization and on resilience, and I'll talk a little bit about this in a second. Innovation continues to be highly important for us, tapping the opportunities of Horizon Europe and others. Equally, facilitating their access to the single market and third country markets, SME internationalization will continue to be at the heart. And then a final element, which does start to kind of touch on our conversation today, helping them to cooperate and, where appropriate, integrate with local, regional, national, and European clusters and industrial ecosystems. This is very important to us because we want to start seeing synergies. And just to kind of show you the new EEN that we're developing, I told you about sustainability advisors, which is something that we've been plotting for the last year and a half. And we will introduce as of the next EEN from the 1st of January next year. We've also doing a major upgrade in the EEN, implementing what we call the EEN vision that we adopted 3.5 years ago. A lot of cooperation and synergies with the clusters and the digital innovation hubs on digital aspects, continued emphasis on free trade agreements, and then a new element, which is working together on resilience. And this is sort of where I wanted to come in, and this is very much the start of a discussion I see with you, is that since we, already before we took clusters and the EEN together in the same unit in the Commission, we were already thinking about the space to do more. And for instance, on sustainability, we'd already agreed on a project that will be in this year's Horizon Europe work program called Innovate to Transform, and a lot of cooperation. We'd like to build on that and make the cooperation on sustainability as seamless as possible. As I said, we've also identified, even last year, the need for better cooperation on digital issues. But a new element, and this is something that is very much in early days, and building on the experiences that you've had over the last year on Corona, on combating the virus and helping the response, but also some of the responses that the EEN has made through a dedicated healthcare platform and other actions, seeing how we can put our forces together in a better way, both so that if there are future supply chain disruptions, we can address them very quickly, building on the lessons from the last 15 months in a seamless way as possible. But secondly, also looking at the longer term vulnerabilities of SMEs and how both with the clusters, and by the way, I put the ECCP here. Obviously, I could have put the ECA as well, but it's just for reasons of space as a kind of shorthand. And so we're trying to look at what we can do. This is early stage work. But what I put with this kind of purple thing here is just as a kind of way of saying this is just the start. We think there are a number of other areas where we can start working together. Just regionalization, there may be a lot of space for us to work together. Internationalization, I see a lot of space. And I think there are a lot of more. And I think it's just a question of seeing in specific areas if there is a space to cooperate right from the start and saying, what can we do together? So with that, just one final example before I end is one area that we're looking at, and we've kind of announced in the industrial strategy, is doing a lot of work on decarbonization of electricity. And this is really an area where we think that on clusters, you've done an awful lot in promoting clean tech and in the innovation in decarbonized electricity. On the EEN, we have an intelligent energy sector group that's also doing a lot. But what we can do and what the industrial strategy update commits us to is to really promoting the uptake by SMEs and others of these solutions as part of the general work we're doing on sustainability. So with that, I just want to finally emphasize is that the way we see cooperation is it's not an option for us. It's not a nice to have. It's something that we really need to do. We have to, SMEs have suffered the most in the crisis, and I'm showing you some figures from a survey that we did through the EEN last year of businesses and the crisis. There's a lot more to be done, and we see this as a core part of our work. So with that, I will now stop sharing the screen, and I hope that now works. I apologize for being a bit long, but I thought it useful to kind of set the scene.
Thank you very much, Crispin. Thank you very much indeed for this. I think very comprehensive, but also short presentation. I would like to ask the participants for questions.
I'm also happy to wait for discussion later if it's. I mean, it's.
Yes, but I think that maybe there are some because. Yeah,
sure.
if no questions are so urgent, I will put a question. So you mentioned in
sorry.
Yes, please.
No, sorry, Daniel. I have only one question.
Yes, please. Sure.
As ELCA, we are working very strongly at the international level. So we allies very often with the Enterprise Europe Network, with the ECCP platform, with all the services that the European Commission put to support, let's say, the internationalization, so all the IPR help desks and so on. I'm asking you are saying about the cooperation. Right now, it's how I see it is a more silo mentality. We have the IPR help desk that is supporting in the IPR issues. We have the Enterprise Europe Network that is supporting maybe in finding the international partners. There is the ECCP that was transformed and now are a bit modernized, but still has a long way to go. How do you see this cooperation really developing in a concrete way? Because it might risk to duplicate some services and to confuse the stakeholders like clusters to who to approach. Because I have this feeling that if I want to go to ask for the specific IP information, I'm going to IP help desk because in my opinion, maybe they have broader knowledge than the Enterprise Europe Network that I know. When I'm going to ask for the new partnership, I'm going to Enterprise Europe Network because they are very successful in our case in highlighting some events and some brokering and so on. So I don't know how you see this synergy in order to not duplicate the services, but to reinforce the services, customize better the one that are existing.
Well, I think you raise an excellent point, Marta, and I think there has been inadvertently too much of a silo mentality. And I would say, frankly, that some members of the Enterprise Europe Network have been guilty of that. I think you'd probably say that possibly that's been the case in some parts of the Clusters Alliance. And as you also mentioned, the IPR Help Desk, and we could mention other networks. And breaking down some of that mentality is not going to happen overnight. But we took a conscious decision with this reorganization that we are going to break this down, and that we are, because frankly, if you're an SME, and I think you alluded to it, you don't really care. You don't really care who's going to support you. You just care that you get the support. And frankly, you know, as people working on European issues, we have a duty, and that's sort of why what my last slide that I thought was a little bit provocative is cooperation is not an option here. We have to find a way of doing this and breaking this down. And signposting, I mean, if you are an SME, you should be signposted to the people who can best help you to deliver, to either resolve your problem or deliver on your dreams. And if that is the Clusters Alliance, terrific. If that is someone in the EN, wonderful. If it's someone in Startup Europe or the European Digital Innovation Hubs or the IPR Help Desk or any of the things, that, you know, that should happen. The second thing is we have to have much greater awareness and sharing of information about what we're doing at an early stage, so that we say, now, hang on a minute, you're thinking of doing things here, we're thinking of doing things here. How can we best synergize right from the start? You know, I don't think people have been deliberately trying to compete. I think it's just sometimes people acting in ignorance, responding to the same stimuli. And so we've got to have that instinct of, hey, why don't we kind of get together? And this is precisely, by the way, what we're doing now in developing the digital services, where we're working very much hand in hand, but also on resilience, where I think now that we, you know, in terms of building a stronger resilience, we're saying, okay, what can we do? And where are the respective advantages that the Clusters Alliance can bring? Where are the respective advantages that the EEN can bring? And we shouldn't, by the way, be afraid of where there are overlaps here or there. We just need to manage those overlaps. You know, those is like two slates of a roof, making sure that the water doesn't creep in. So no, I appreciate I'm being rather vague. These are open days, but I think we need to change our mentality. And by the way, that's something that I will be very much preaching at the Enterprise Europe Network. Both we're having a steering and advisory group meeting next month, but also at the annual conference that we hold later this year, where we're having a dedicated session on synergies. I see a question.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much for your question and also for the answer. I think that you made your point. It's very clear. So the SMEs don't care where they get the support from, but there is a need of stronger coordination between all these services that are in place, support services for SMEs at European level. So thank you very much, Crispin. Maybe we'll come back to you in the last part of our meeting in discussions. Now we turn to the class. So we turn to concrete examples of cooperation between the Enterprise Europe Network and clusters. And where did these examples come from? So in the Enterprise Europe Network, there is something like, let's call it an intelligence group. There is a thematic group on clusters, which is working and since 7 years, more than 7 years now, on how to ease the cooperation between the regional points. You see, we have innovation agency, we have chambers of commerce, we have consultants, we have industrial associations and so on. So how to enhance the cooperation with the cluster management so that the services that we've been talking about get more easier to the SMEs. And this is how we select also some examples, some good practice examples. And one of the examples we came across is the cluster Luce in Veneto. And Luce in Veneto is not alone, but Luce in Veneto is also a member of the European Lighting Cluster Alliance. And it's a pleasure for me now to ask both Antonella Vența and Marta Krakowiak to show us how the cluster and the alliance have cooperated and are cooperating with the Enterprise Europe Network. Thank you very much for accepting our invitation. You have the floor.
Thank you very much, Daniel.
I am Antonella Venza, Cluster Manager of Rete di Imprese Luce in Veneto. So if I can share the screen, I have some slides to show. Can you allow me, Daniel, to show,
Antonio?
Just a second. Can you show my screen?
Yes, we can.
Yes, we can. Yes, yes.
So first of all, I would like to thank Ivan Bueso, Daniel, and all of you for the invitation. It's a great honor for us to present our cluster in this occasion, in this meeting. Luce in Veneto is a cluster, just a second. It's an Italian cluster gathering many SMEs working on the lighting sector, and the number of members is changing, so it's an open cluster. At the moment, we are 47 SMEs. Luce in Veneto is located in the Venetian region, and the Venetian region is the second region in Italy in terms of turnover and number of SMEs in lighting sector. So this is why in 2009 we decided to establish this cluster. In the Venetian region, there are more than 300 lighting companies in different ways, and their structure is very small and micro. In the Luce in Veneto, most of our companies are companies that produce the final item, the final products or lighting systems. In particular, indoor decorative lights, and the most of our companies are in the province of Venice, Treviso, and Padua for historical reasons. But we have also the representative of the supply chain of the lighting sector. So we have also producer of components like glass, Murano glass or industrial glass, like ceramic or brass, copper, and more also electrical and domotic components for the light sector. In our cluster, we have really a huge quantity of different kind of companies, and for us is an added value because the potential clients, customers can find in our cluster from classical to modern and architectural, from indoor to outdoor, street lighting. So it could be a difficulty, but for us it's an added value. At governance level, we have a general assembly that collect the 47 SMEs. They meet at least once a year to approve the balance, the annual balance, and a board of directors, the executive committees with 5 members that meet every 2 or 3 months to discuss the project. As staff, there is me as cluster manager, as external expert, with the role of managing daily the cluster and to propose the executive committee new idea, new problems or ideas from also the companies. So it's quite a link between the executive committee and the companies. And there is also, since this year, a communication manager, because we have seen that it's very important, the communication and market activities to allow the network among the companies inside the cluster, but also outside. So this is our structure. Our activities are quite classical, typical for the cluster, so internationalization, because our companies are for sure a competitor, but they need some common supports in terms of market research or opportunity for common area in the main fairs abroad, or more complex projects. In particular, we have an agreement with a label entity to guarantee the opportunity to have a label for the USA and Canada market very quickly and with low costs. And we are working for a laboratory, a local laboratory, to guarantee certification, because our big barrier for our SMEs in the external markets. Our companies export more than 50%, more than 70% of their item of their products. The second level is the research. For us, it's very difficult because the companies don't spend a lot for research and innovation, but we support them in putting in contact with university, research centers, laboratories, and we want that the companies work together to reach new goal in the research, and because the market is asking always new item and new solutions. For sure, we have a look to the product, the market, but also the training, and so the people, the knowledge of the employees and owners, the companies, because the three parts are very important and must go together. And the last one is for sure the networking and promotion inside the cluster and outside the cluster. In 2016, the national region approved a new local law to align their industrial policies to these three specialization strategies. And as Luce Veneto, we candidate as legal entity of innovation network regional, named the National Smart Lighting, and we were the first approved, the first group of three regional innovation clusters, and it was an honor for us. And this moment was very important for us because we changed our approach. We don't think only to the lighting sector, but the cross-sector approach. So we have to cooperate with many other clusters, local clusters, in different but complementary sectors like digitalization, energy saving, smart building, automation, manufacturing, circular economy, cybersecurity, etc. So with the support of the public authorities, we have to daily have a dialogue with other clusters for new projects, in particular in research activities, so to develop the lighting in smart lighting and smart connected lighting. So this approach is new for us, but it's very important at regional level and at European level. So we have submitted many European projects with, we are a member of a consortium with lighting clusters, but also complementary clusters, also like at regional level. And this is for us very, very important because we can really exchange many ideas and many opportunities also for our companies. In particular, we have an excellence project that allow us to have to join to reach the label, the bronze label, and this was very, very important for us. And we have just won another excellence project, so we want to reach the silver label next year. The last slide, I want to show you that even if our structure is very strict, easy. We have a very strong ecosystem in which we move. So we cooperate and we can easily move in this ecosystem with university, research center, industrial associations, meta clusters, other clusters, training firms, and for sure public authorities. This model is at different levels, so regional, national, and European. So at regional level, as I said before, we are a legal entity of the innovative network, regional network, national smart lighting. And in that group, not only the companies from Luce and Veneto, but also big company, for example, like OSAM or university or research center. So it's a cloud with other entities for us, very important in the lighting sector. At the national level, we are a member of the national cluster, technological cluster Fabbrica Intelligente, that it's more focused on Industrial 4.0 and digitalization. And so for us is a very important cluster. And for sure, the last one, but the most important perhaps, ELCA. ELCA is the European Lighting Cluster Alliance that we have founded in 2012, and we, as Luce and Veneto, have the presidency in this moment. ELCA is very important for us because it's the way to open to the European opportunities, both in lighting, with other lighting clusters, for sure, that are member of ELCA, but as I said before, also with other clusters in other sectors. And so I think that thanks to the expertise and the knowledge of our project manager, Marta Krakowiak, we have the opportunity to win and to have new European projects. So I can pass the floor to Marta Krakowiak to present ELCA. If you want, Daniel, is it okay?
Yes, and I will present also the cooperation with Enterprise Europe network that we have at international level. So if I can share my screen.
And Marta, please try to be as short as possible.
Yes, I have 3 slides, you know, very focused on the on the topic. Okay. Okay. And okay. I hope you see my screen. So I will be very short. Let's just say that ELCA is the European Lighting Cluster Alliance, that we are gathering the lighting clusters from different European countries, both at national and regional level. We have currently 5 big important lighting clusters from Italy, France, Spain, Belgium, and Poland, and we collaborate also with the clusters from Denmark, Sweden, Finland, Portugal, Croatia, Greece, and Germany that are our partners in different initiatives. We are, let's say, the international branch of the lighting clusters that are our members, and we are trying to lobby a bit of, let's say, to strengthen the role of the lighting companies, in particular small and medium-sized companies that are main members of our clusters. We build international initiatives, both cooperation, innovation, capacity building. And we also work very strongly to reinforce not only the collaboration between our clusters, so within the sector, but in particular with the cross-sector, with the light sectors, in the framework of smart building and smart cities. So we are working whenever the light is needed, and so you can imagine that the sectors are quite broad. I would like to just give you this short outlook of the current project, because this is strictly linked to the cooperation with the Enterprise Europe network that we have. So we have been very, let's say, successful in the COSME program, and also with Erasmus, and we have also some Horizons, but this is the most focus on the companies, let's say. And in this partnership, we worked very strongly with the Enterprise Network, in particular the Veneto Innovazione, that is our Northeast node, so the main referee. And here I would like to just thank you, Ivan Boes and Marco Rolieri, who are our key contact points. In our case, the collaboration is made on 2 levels. I would just to say it's as we are working mainly in promoting international initiatives, collaboration projects, and some capacity building campaigns, addressing, of course, our key stakeholders like lighting sector, lighting companies, and lighting clusters, but also other our collaboration partners. We have these 2 levels. So we have the first, I can call it support in preparation, in definition of the ideas for new initiatives and projects. And here the most important and most successful, let's say, support that was we received from the Veneto Innovazione is the, let's say, connecting opportunities with the right partners, with the international organizations, other clusters, research bodies, and so on. We receive very detailed and also, I can say, customized notifications regarding the possibility of B2B matchmaking, brokering events, thematic conferences, and also all the partnering opportunities currently in the virtual basis. And we also use the partner search services, like search notifications that we received. And they are, let's say, channeled to us both through the mailing, so some periodic emails that we receive, but also in direct contact, because we have very good direct contact with the Enterprise Europe Network and Innovazione. So it's like the simple call that we receive from Ivan or from Marco, and are saying this might be interesting for you, or somebody is looking for somebody, maybe you can consider this. And this is the first level. The first level very often bring us to the second one. I call it endorsement and advisory, let's say, services, because Veneto Innovazione is supporting ELCA proposals, and also Luce Veneto proposals as our Italian member, endorsing our ideas if they consider them valid, of course, because it is not an automatic, let's say, endorsement and support. It's always based on the previous consultation and dialogue that we have with them, that we explain the idea, we explain the capitalization, we explain how this will impact the territory. So they support us through these letters of support, letters of intent that are very helpful, because show that we have their, let's say, strong interest in the project ideas, and then the effective support of their organization behind. And then we very often involve the Enterprise Europe Network in our projects and initiatives in the role of an advisory body. It's both regarding the technical activities, so the research projects, or let's say innovation-led projects that we are channeling to our members and companies, but also internationalization. We tried always to involve them in the external advisory boards, and we, how to say it in a very direct, concrete way, we use their services that Crispin listed, let's say, during the projects. Because what we noted, what we realized as not only as ELCA, as we are the international body, but what our members, so lighting clusters, referred to us, that companies are not very keen to address directly the Enterprise Europe network if they are members of a cluster, because they feel more comfortable to address the cluster manager and ask for specific support, and the cluster manager is then addressing the Enterprise European network. And we would like to use this specific connection, and in our projects and initiatives that are addressing directly the companies and also clusters, we put the possibility to dialogue directly with Enterprise Europe networks of different regions or different countries that the project or consortium is involving, and put them, let's say, in the middle of this process, to let the companies know them also, and to let the Enterprise Europe network to channel the services directly to the companies through our projects. So this is something that we would like to highlight. I also would like to highlight it as one of the points that I think it can be strengthened to directly involve the Enterprise Europe network in some specific projects, innovation projects or digitalized projects, not only to ask for their support, endorsement, and maybe help in the preparation of the partnership, but what we learned, and in the previous project that I showed you, it was the concrete examples when we involved the Enterprise Europe network in the boards. It gives you some very concrete inputs then, and help to channel the innovative services to the companies, because they give you the advisory in the fields that maybe the cluster managers, in which cluster managers have some shortcomings, and this is a sort of direct contact. So this is mainly how we see the cooperation with Enterprise Europe network, and this is, of course, as I said, supported also by all other organizations that we work with. So
thank you.
What I would like to say.
Yes. Thank you very much. Thank you very much to both of you for the presentation, and also for pointing out the role of the cluster management in channeling the services of the Enterprise Europe network, and also the idea of more involvement of the Enterprise Europe network points into specific projects. Thank you very much. I would like now to go to another example from Romania, an example where you will see that innovation is possible also in a very traditional sector, which is the textile sector, and also that how the Enterprise Europe network contributed to this. And I would like to ask Mirela Puiu, the manager of the Romanian Textile Concept Cluster, to talk a little bit, and very short, of course, Mirela, about our cooperation. Thank you very much. Mic is off.
Yes, sorry, I was in a rush. I hope you see the screen and you can hear me.
Yes.
Yes, okay, so thank you very much for inviting me. My name is Mirela Puiu. I represent the Romanian Textile Concept Cluster. As our name says it, we are a textile cluster from Romania. We were established in 2011, and we are active in the southeast of Romania. We are based on a public-private partnership between entities from the 4 pillars: industry, education, R&D, public authorities, and catalysts, of course. Our main goal is to increase the competitiveness of our members in terms of products, labor force distribution, and access to new markets via research and innovation, marketing, communication, and as well as education and training. And we have 4 departments working in this regard. I will go very quickly through them, each of them with their own focus and objectives. So the Innovation Research Development Department, the Marketing Internationalization Commercial Department, Education and Training, and last but not least, the Project Management Department. And I will be presenting one of the services developed by this department together with one of our members, Impulse Consulting Partners, which is an EEN representative in Romania. A few words about the situation of our industry. So traditionally, the textile sector has been playing a major role in Romanian economy. It's contributing with 10% of the gross value added, 10% of the exports, and 18% of the employees in the manufacturing industry. The strengths of our industry are the long-lasting tradition, good quality, and close vicinity, but we depend on the loan system a bit too much, and we have a low level of innovation, and these are some weaknesses that make us less and less competitive. So turning towards a higher added value fashion, creative industry, functional textiles, circular economy could be our main opportunities for going forward. So increasing the level of innovation of our members has become one of the major goals in our cluster. But in order to achieve it, we needed an instrument that should have been good, viable, easy to apply, and of course not very expensive. And this is the role of EEN. Because we have developed together this concept we call integrated cluster services. It is a 3-step funnel approach that starts with the presentation seminar, then company visits, and results in tailor-made solutions for the cluster members. So the first step is a presentation seminar where we present and by we, I mean the team made up by the EEN representatives and the cluster management. We present some basic details like the benefits of being a cluster member, available financial and non-financial instruments for SME developments, international best practices, and other. The second step is the company visits, where business reviews and innovation audits are performed, followed by recommendations accompanied by proposed measures and according deadlines, of course. The recommendation may include orientation towards specific financial and non-financial support. And the last step is, okay, let's say the most important, because it's one that leads to the needed innovation support. The members are filtered throughout each step, and only a few ones reach the final one, only the ones that show the most innovation potential. The range of services in this step can vary from enhanced innovation audits to project generation seminars, where the company is led through the process of turning an innovative idea to a project proposal. And of course, they can even get help in writing the proposal and managing this project. From the outputs of this service, these are the outputs from the first time we applied this concept. I mean, there were 18 cluster members participating, 2 innovation audits and 5 business reviews were performed, 1 enhanced innovation audit, the improved methodology, 1 Romanian-Bulgarian project submitted, and 1 innovative startup was founded. Of course, we have used this concept various times after that, and the number of interested companies has increased. We have performed now more than 20 business reviews and innovation audits, and we went on to performing more specific audits like eco-innovation or competence mappings. More projects have been developed, one more startup was founded, and of course it also helped us in the renewal of our silver label. This methodology might seem classical and I don't know, but it's this joint team effort that ensured the success from several points of view. For the EEN consultant, it offers an easier access to the companies, to the SMEs. To the companies, it offers a more filtered and focused access to relevant innovation. And to the cluster manager, it raises a level of trust from the side of the companies. It helps us diversify the spectrum of activities and services, and it decreases the degree of cooperation between members. Just a few more words. The Romanian Cluster Association, and we thank again our president and our moderator today, has presented this approach to the Ministry of Education and Research. And the different innovation instruments used were got eligible under the cluster dedicated call within the national R&D plan. So yeah, these results have been used by other clusters after that. And at an international level, this concept was regarded as best practice, and our president, Mrs. Sarah Wexler, won the Entrepreneur of the Year award in the EU Open for Business campaign in 2018. And you can see here some of the visuals used for this campaign. So that was it. Thank you very much. I hope I was.
Thank you very much, Mirela. Thank you very much for putting it so beautifully. I would like now to, we have seen by this presentation, we have seen again the cooperation, the channeling of the services of the Enterprise Europe Network through a cluster management. So when we have seen that this has turned into a good practice example at national and international level, as it was also the case also with the European Lighting Cluster Alliance. I would like now to ask you for questions. If you have questions for the speakers, there were some questions put in the chat already answered. So please say or something, or forever keep your peace, as they say at weddings. Because if you don't have questions, I will ask. I have to ask questions. So. And one question for Crispin. So Crispin, you have seen, so and you have presented, you have also from the questions that have been asked in the chat, you've seen the interest, yeah, for also for the new call, and so, and you have presented in your presentation. So the network is composed of chambers of commerce, innovation agencies, other consultants, and so on. Because I am also part of the network from 2008, I have seen a little bit a shift in the composition of the network. So at first, so in the period 2007-2014, there were more chambers of commerce. Then it turned somehow the regional development agencies, the innovation agencies. Now the question: are you expecting, or okay, let's say, are you encouraging? I'm very precautious when I ask you this, but still I'm asking: are you encouraging clusters to participate to the new call? How do you see this?
I have to say we're in a slightly tricky contractual situation right now, and I'm under strict guidance from
yes.
our legal experts. So look, it really, and as I've said in response to one question on the call, if there are any specific questions you have with regard to the call and what we expect. We will have an information day, as is standard for all calls. We expect to hold that next month, and we will advertise it in the appropriate places so that all potential applicants have a chance. You know, I obviously would love to share more information, but I'm under pretty strict rules on this. Now, so, you know, it's not for us to say who can and cannot apply. There is, you know, the call says what it says on that. In terms of is the balance of the network shifting? I think this is a wider question that is outside the call. And the answer is yes, the balance of the network is shifting, and there are differences in this call to the ones that there were in the call that we had for 2014. And obviously, I highlighted the objectives, and people can compare those and see that there are some specific areas where we have stressed, for instance, the cooperation on synergies. We've also, this is a novelty, which is, again, it's already in the public domain, so I can say it, is that on sustainability and digitalization and resilience, we see the need for more work. Now, it's not up to us to say who can and cannot apply. It's just us to say, here are the needs, this is what we're looking for in the contract. And if you feel that together with other potential partners, you meet this, then you can apply. Sorry to be a bit legal on this.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Crispin. And I would like also I would like to ask a question also for the ladies that have presented us their cluster experience, to all three of them. What do you expect? Yeah, if you could say it in very, very few words, what do you expect more? So as cluster managers, what do you expect from the Enterprise Europe Network more? What should be done more in the next period? So Antonella, Marta, Mirela.
Can I start?
Yes.
A lot of more, first of all. More direct, customized contacts with clusters managers. To find a way, I think this would be the best, to establish a very specific, personalized contact channel with clusters to understand what the sector needs. And usually the Enterprise Europe networks, and I'm speaking about, for example, the Veneto Innovazione, or the Northeast node, they are in the comfortable position that they are also the smart specialization managing supporting body, let's say, for the Veneto region. So they are accumulating all the knowledge regarding the new industry policies in one team. And what I will expect is to be more present for the cluster managers, more responsive, and not limiting only to highlighting some information, but also trying to interpret or to guide the cluster managers to address some new opportunities. This is from my side.
Thank you.
On my side, also regarding the comments on the chat, I want to say that in our experience, we have 5 running research projects, and in all of them, there are cooperation among companies, SMEs, and big companies, not member of our cluster, but of other clusters, and universities. So I think that this is the right model, because only the big company have the force to stress the university to join, to meet the right results in the research projects. So I think that the network has to facilitate the cooperation among the SMEs and the big company, because it's not a risk for them. It's an opportunity to have to improve their knowledge and the opportunities also in the market, also considering the big competitors abroad, out of the European market.
Okay, thank you very much. Mirela?
Yes, so I agree with what the two ladies said. but for us, we have already started this customized contact. So I expect this to go on and to find new solutions for the way, for the paths that our cluster is developing on now.
Yes,
Thank you.
thank you. Thank you. Jaime wanted to ask a question. Jaime, please.
Yes, no, it was only to confirm the question I put in the chat. If Crispin could tell a little bit about what you think that the cooperation between SMEs, multinationals, universities, and centers of competence could be reinforced by a better cooperation between EEN and clusters. Thank you.
Well, no, absolutely. And I think one of the things, I tried to keep my answer short. One of the messages that we are providing in the industrial strategy and that we're stressing, and that is a benefit of our new configuration, is that we very much see clusters and the EEN as delivery networks, as networks that can help deliver. If you read the industrial strategy update, we talk about green and digital transition pathways, helping industry to make that move. And this is something where I think that there is an enormous space for us to say, look, these networks can be part of making sure that it isn't just the big multinationals who can digitalize and it's very easy, but that we are actually looking at their needs and we're actually helping this to happen in practice. And linking up with what the colleagues have said about customized approach, I think we need to look ecosystem by ecosystem and say, how is it that the ECA, the ECCP, and the EN can work together to support this transition to greater sustainability, and break that down really into specific areas. What can we do on decarbonization of electricity? What can we do on resource efficiency? What can we do on waste management and others? And I think the more granular you get that, the better for everybody. And then presenting it also as this is an opportunity. One of the things that we also have to make sure is that when there are conversations with big companies, the SME voice is fully there. And we are saying, look, we can provide you partners to cooperate. And I think one area, as I flagged, is industrial alliances, where there is greater space for SMEs to be involved in the new alliances that we're creating. We announced 2 new ones in the industrial strategy on microprocessors and semiconductors, and on data cloud, and we're also looking at others. And I think one of the things that we might consider together is whether there is space, whether there are things that we can do to promote SMEs being part of those alliances. So I realize this is just a very first thing, but I think we have to kind of do it case by case, and looking, and Nicoletta has kind of said this as well, is where the need is and where we can best support. And I think this is what was driving Elka and the others, is there a need that we can best support by working together? I hope that answers your question.
Yes, thank you very much, Crispin. So thank you to all our speakers. So if we have to sum up, so it's about sustainability. So sustainability, which is the let's say the word that we heard today of the new Enterprise Europe network. Also the need for customized support, which varies from industrial ecosystem to industrial ecosystem, and of course from cluster to cluster. And this is the art in which the Enterprise Europe network services and the services of the cluster management can be brought together. I thank you very much to all of you, also to those who put very, very interesting questions. I think that this is a discussion that has started, has also just started, as Crispin said, in order to enhance our cooperation. I thank you very much, and I pass now to Antonio for the final words.
I think that Marek wants to make a last statement.
Yes, sure.
Thank you.
Yes, thank you, Crispin and Antonio. Crispin, we are now in the same unit, and so this collaboration from the European Commission on EEN and clusters will go on. We need to bear in mind clusters are enterprises, are not supporting, and they are enterprises, so it's very important that while we are working together on supporting SMEs, we bear in mind that clusters are have members who are SMEs as such, and this goes together in transition of green, digital, and building resilience, where SMEs are not only helping themselves, but they are creating this transition. So clusters is an economic phenomenon. It's not just organization to help SMEs. It's just an economic phenomenon which existed before any EU instruments, which will exist because clustering is a natural thing of bringing together related actors. So I think this we need to bear in mind. It's not just the question of the European Commission giving instruments to support SMEs, but as well, in order, it's a question of having this natural, organic development of members of clusters, which are SMEs, but 20% are big enterprises, researchers of development. And I think European Enterprise Network complements very well to these efforts, but cannot replace the organic development of clusters, which is happening because there is the economic need for this. And I think we need to bear in mind that we are developing clusters because there is the need from economic perspective, but not because there is the network being created by any instrument. So we need to have this in mind. But of course, we will work now all together for this. And I'm happy that Susan from Sweden, or from this working group on clusters, can join our efforts, and we can now work in bottom up, top down with regional authorities as well on this. Thank you very much for your participation. You see, this is a topic which requires lots of attention on our side and cooperation. Thank you very much. Thanks.
You're very welcome. You are all very welcome, Crispin, and all the speakers. I think that Marek has explained it beautifully. We are realities, collaborative realities, and that is very, very important to say. And we could encourage them, we could give us a structured methodology, and we could help us to do it better, but we are realities. Thank you, Crispin, and we have scheduled more or less one meeting by month for sure with the European Enterprise Network. So I'm sure you will have more opportunities if you want, if you wish, to join us, and we are really working in the future together. So thank you, and see you soon, I hope. Bye.
Thanks a lot.
Thank you very much.
Bye-bye.